So at this point, this is quite interesting. I'm using a delegate method in my environment class since this follows the adapter pattern that simply delegates all the method calls which are available in this the singleton class to the plugged-in instances of Kuhn, Core, and vendor base. And I want to make sure that for each method which is defined in the vendor base or in the interface of the vendor base, I want to make sure that first off, the delegate method of the environment class itself gets called, and then forwards all the method calls as a delegate to the vendor base, which shares the same interface with the environment singleton class. And to make sure that those methods are called, I can create a function spy by calling spy on. And the first argument is the object, which has the method for which the spy should get created. In this case, it's the vendor base and the method get. Additionally, I want to create a spy for the delegate implementation of the environment class and check whether the methods have been called, what they should have. What should have at least happened for the delegate of the environment and the actual delegated method, or the target method in the target class in the vendor base class. I check the calls property of the spy and check whether it has been called, and additionally, what kind of arguments have been submitted to make sure that the forwarding of the method calls is done correctly. For the get method, I have to check that the delegate, you can see the implementation here. This is the delegate of the environment class. It gets a function name that it's supposed to call on the vendor base, and it simply does so by using JavaScript apply with the scope or the target object, in which the scope should rely later on, and the arguments. So the spy for the delegate would look like this. Calls most recent args must be get, because that is the method we're calling. And we can check for the second argument, although we don't have to, because we check that the get method of the vendor base is already called with the correct argument. But out of interest, I'm gonna show you this. It's an arguments object. So let's see if we get this right by checking for equality. We pass the string some key. And we can test later on with an array. Check how it compares the passed argument with the argument it has to be tested against. Okay. Let's see what it does. Okay, at this point we see that it doesn't seem to be able to test the arguments. with the equality comparison of a plain JavaScript object and the arguments object. So I would simply write the test down like this. Okay, we can skip this test for now because it's not finished yet. We can remove this one because we know that the proper argument is reaching the delegated method. And we make sure that we use this spy for the delegate method of the environment for each and every method call, like this. So that must be get path for resource, that must be get package, and that must be get environment. And the test should run through. And this one's looking good. So we know that all the methods which are implemented in environment actually call the delegate method. And then that gets forwarded to the target object, which is our configured vendor base, and all these methods which have been specified in the first argument getting called with the arguments object.